Hey everyone, a warm welcome to all of you, and thank you for tuning in on a Saturday morning as we head into the weekend. I'm Nisha Katwani, Assistant Community Manager at Ample, and I would be the moderator for today's session. Just to put things in perspective as to why we need sessions like these, and to kick things off on a lighter note, this was found outside a doctor's clinic, and some of you may have already come across this joke. The note went something like this: people eat vada, samosa, fried and recycle overused oil, relish pani puri filled with dirty water, eat pesticide laden vegetables and fruits, pay money to consume aerated drinks, smoke, drink, and chew tobacco like no tomorrow, and all this without thinking twice. Also, may I add, all this with little or no physical and mental activity whatsoever. But the moment I hand them a much needed prescription, they ask in all seriousness, Doctor, I hope there are no side effects to these. This is exactly how we function. We need constant reminders to keep our lifestyles and mental health in check. Over the last year and a half, we are all privy to how mental health and wellness have become paramount to our very existence. The topic for today's session is Yoga, Unlock Your Body and Mind Amidst the Chaos, and this talk has been sponsored by Ample. Joining us today are the dynamic duo Parul Agarwal and Iti Jain, certified yoga instructors, fitness enthusiasts, and content creators. Today's session will cover what is yoga, connecting the mind, body, and breath, fitness, different forms of exercise and neuroprogramming, mind training and effects of yoga on mental health, nostril dominance and the state of being, nutrition, healthy and mindful eating, and the session will conclude with different aspects of healthy living. I would like to mention this will be a recorded session so our members can watch it later. Also, the purpose of these talks is to foster learning. So, request everyone to share their views, opinions, and questions at the end of the talk, or you could drop it in the chat box below. And finally, before I hand over the floor to Parul and Iti, I want our viewers to know that Parul, despite having a throat ulcer and difficulty in speaking, insisted on doing this talk. We deeply appreciate that, Parul. So please welcome Parul Agarwal and Iti Jain. Over to you, Parul.
Thank you so much, Nisha, for such a nice introduction and what we're going to talk about today. Hi and namaste to everyone. My name is Parul Agarwal. I am from Bangalore. I am a yoga teacher. I've been practicing teaching yoga, or you can say it's part of my life from last 4 years. And from then, I've been just trying to share a little joy with everyone. Didi, to you.
Hi guys, good morning. I'm Iti Jain. I'm also a yoga teacher, just playing all the roles around being a yoga teacher. And let's get over with our topic. Let's begin, Parul.
Yes. So, Iti, can you tell me with which nostril are you breathing?
Luckily, my left nostril is active right now. Really?
Seriously?
Like,
I hardly get to do that.
yeah, my
But yes.
left side is dominant. But why are you asking me this? I mean, now, why are you asking me this now?
No, I'm just curious to understand. Are you really keen in the session? How interested you are to be, talking to all of us and sharing the knowledge?
Totally.
All right. So there is a lot to do with nostril dominance. Most of us are not aware of the fact that most of the time we are breathing only with one nostril, either with right or with left. And nostril dominance plays a very, very important, significant role in our state of being. Like, how we breathe really impacts our mind and the day to day activities as well. Just going to explain a bit about it. So, when I say I'm breathing with my right nostril, so, when I feel that, my right nostril, the air goes in and out is more, then it means it's the energy which is coming from sun. It is a masculine energy. It requires, so basically at this point in time, if you try to do any physical activity, you're going to be more effective and productive in that. It is more to do with, it reflects internal heat. It is the organ of perspiration, elimination, speech, and you do anything around it. Your digestion is very good when you're breathing with your left nostril. So you can even eat and your metabolism improves or your food get digested very well when you are breathing with your left versus when you're breathing with your right. versus when you're breathing with your left nostril, it is the energy which is coming from moon. It is more feminine. It is more intuitive and intellect. So, if you want to sit and read something or watch something, so left nostril works really, really well. Or you're breathing with left nostril and you can really focus well, and a lot of things go inside our brain. Otherwise, half of the time I'm breathing. Gas, close the gas. Okay. Open the door. So, half of the time you're not focused. Because, and you're not, and I am too like, I'm reading the same sentence 10 times, and why it is not going in my head. Like, it looks so simple just reading, but probably because I'm trying to read at a wrong time, probably because I'm reading more with my right nostril. I should just get up and do some work, and I'm doing the other way around. So
But
nostril
Parul,
reading, yeah.
sorry, just had a question. Like so many times, you know how much we need to read as teachers and as content creators. So many times my right nostril is working and I'm still reading. So is that okay?
So as I said, of course, if you're breathing with your right nostril and you try to read, then of course, the things which goes in your head is very slow. You have to keep reading. You have to try to put more focus, because that's not what you're really, your nostrils are really telling you to do. But there are ways to shift the breathing of nostril. Luckily, every 90 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes, nostril, anyways, there is a, predominant shift in the nostril. After every 60 to 90 minutes, we breathe with right. If you're breathing with right now, you will shift to left. And there are times in the day when you breathe with both the nostrils. If you're lucky enough, you can sit in meditation. It's a very peaceful state. So definitely right now it is not, when we say it's a balanced state of mind and a body, but most of the time we are not balanced, to be very honest. We breathe with one of the nostrils. And the way we can shift, or basically, as Iti asked, if I want to read and I want to, I want my left nostril to breathe, I can try to shift the dominance to my left nostril. So we have a couple of methods, just one or two over here. So we can try to breathe in very slowly, inhale, and as you exhale, you bring your focus to the nostril which you want to open. So that way, if you do that multiple times, say 11 times or 5 times, you should be able to, shift your nostril breathing towards the left. Another way we really focus on, basically, you close one nostril, you close your right nostril, and you inhale and exhale with your left multiple times. So the nostril automatically it shifts and you start breathing with that nostril. So the idea behind all of it is that if you, understand the dominance of your nostril, your activities can really be, improved, or, you can be more productive throughout the day. You don't struggle to do something which you're not meant to do at that point in time. And it is all about knowing your body and your breath more. When we talk about yoga, or when we talk about any other practice of fitness, it is said that we should be very, very mindful. So here also I'm just bringing up the topic that, be mindful even when you're doing any activities. Figure out what really is suiting you at this point in time and just go ahead with it.
So another doubt, Parul. So you said that we need to sit and do this. Can I do this like when I'm standing or lying down?
Yes, you can do. So this is something, when I say that, particularly this sort of breathing, you should sit and do, because the breath flows from our abdomen to our diaphragm, to our thoracic, to our nose. But when you want to do something when you're lying down, so you can always lie down on your one hand. For example, if you want to breathe from your right, so lie down on your left side, push your armpit down, push your hand down, or the fist down towards the armpit. So when you breathe that way, then automatically your opposite nostril opens.
That's interesting.
So I think it is very, very important and easy to shift the nostril. And once you figure that out, you can, accordingly change the timings of your activity or what you want to do at that point in time. So, but right now, my left is more dominant. So I would want to sit and listen and probably read and talk. Yeah.
Yes, even my left is dominant, but so when my right side is dominant, it is like the best time. So usually in the morning when I wake up, it's my like yoga time. I ensure that I do some anulom vilom or nadi shodhan just to get my right side breathing. That I'm like all into my workout. Like even if I work out for half an hour, it's more effective. So like let's talk about fitness. Like, it's the new talk of the town. What comes to your mind when I say fitness? Like, for me, I'm telling you, for me, like, I can imagine a guy with six pack abs, or like a lean girl with like a tiny waist that I can hold with like my two fingers. That's what comes in my mind. But that's amazing marketing done by all these gyms, by all these nutrition companies and etc. Sorry, I don't want to take names, but that's how we think fitness is all about, just looking lean. But fitness is so much more. Like, just like a small anecdote. Before I started yoga, I was 42 kgs. When I was done with my yoga teacher training, 6 months of yoga, I was 47. I cried to my teacher. I have increased 5 kgs, in these 6 months. He was like, "You were too skinny. You were not healthy. You were not fit. See yourself today. You can hold a plank for 2 minutes. You can do XYZ. You are more active. You're more energetic. You still have energy to play with your nephews and nieces." That's what fitness is all about. Weighing scale is just like a secondary thing. So focus on being active, focus on, I or anyone over here, we don't need like the flexibility of a gymnast or the endurance of a marathon runner. If you are a marathon runner, you do need it. Or maybe, the strength of like a weightlifter. We don't need that. Like, all our lifestyles are different. Like, what, as a yoga teacher, the amount of fitness I need might be like very different from someone who's like a sportsman or like a professional dancer. We all have like different requirements of fitness. So basically, fitness means, going through your daily life really comfortably, without any injuries, without any pain, and still having energy. Like, at the end of the day, like, I know I'm usually like, oh, I'm dead, I'm just going to sleep. But we should ideally have a little more energy left. Yes.
But okay, so I have a question, Iti. So, what level of fitness do you think we need to sit in front of computer and work?
Mm. I need to be really fit because I take like dumbbells one in one hand. Okay, fine. Jokes apart, yes, that's actually a very good point. All of us have a sedentary lifestyle. Us being yoga teachers, we spend so much time in mailing, social media, and just sitting. All of us, I think, and especially during the lockdown, we have Netflixed for hours. So, and our bodies were not designed to sit for such long hours. In fact, Mayo Clinic says sitting is the new smoking, because I do not mean to scare anyone, but just sitting for hours, it leads to a lot of illnesses, back pain, RSI, like, repetitive stress injuries. Our neck is here, our shoulders are here, our wrists are working. Besides that, we are more prone to higher sugar levels and so many more things. So the best thing would be, like, that's what I used to do when I used to work. And I think even Parul told me the same, that I used to drink like so much of water that I had to go pee every 45 minutes. I remember my manager once asking me, do you have like a bladder issue? I was like, no, it's just to ensure I walk like, at least 2K steps in a day. Yes, so it's just important to move around. I, like, I remember this very funny instance. My, like, me and my dad, like, this is our working space during the lockdown. So my dad was sitting here, I was behind, and he asked me for something. I was giving it to him. He just turned to take that pen or whatever he had me, and he couldn't turn back. That's the amount of decreased amount of mobility. So that shouldn't happen with us, right? You don't want to like just pick, go to pick down and you're like, oh my god, my muscle hurts. That's just not done. So yes, so though we are having like a sedentary lifestyle, we especially need fitness now. We need to get active, we need to get moving.
But that means we need to have major changes in our lifestyle. Don't you think so? I mean,
Not a major lifestyle, not at all. You just need to become normal. Like, when I say normal, can you like remember in school we just used to like climb through like a 4-story building of two set of stairs. Can we do that now? I mean, of course, nowadays we're not using the elevator and escalator because of COVID, but yes, we should be able to do that. Can you enjoy a game of Coco, basketball game? I mean, this is what it is. It's not about, oh no, I'm going to like leave everything and I'm going to just do like intermittent fasting and I'm going to follow Ayurveda and I'm going to do 2 hours of yoga, 1 hour of stretching. No, just keep moving, do your own housework. Like I remember, I think, I don't know who told me, like I think one of our friends itself, that they have an Apple Watch, and these watches are so thin. So she was like, during the lockdown it used to show around 1 hour 15 minutes of exercise, and she was like, I didn't do any exercise. So basically she was like, while doing home chores, my Apple Watch used to keep on rotating, because all the bending, putting clothes, taking out clothes, serving food, all of this is exercise, right? And then of course, swabs, nowadays we have standing swabs, but then too, putting it down, coming it in, your Apple Watch actually records it as exercise. Not only Apple, a lot of other watches. So we are not telling major lifestyle changes, we are just like, get active, like, probably, can you, like, the biggest example is, if we go on a road trip and you do not find like a standing toilet, can you use like a ground toilet, like a Indian toilet? A lot of us might like be like, oh my god, my knees will give up, my mobility is not that great. So fitness is just being able to go through your day, enjoy life, and improve your quality of life. It is we who have made it very complicated, that, oh, fitness is XYZ, I can do this, I can do that, see my abs, see my muscles. I mean, I love that. I really love that. I'm like a, sucker for it, honestly. But on an average, we all should be able to lift our own luggage, climb a flight of stairs, do squats, have safe knees, safe back. That is all, that you can live your life like to the fullest. So that's the lifestyle change. If we call that a lifestyle change, then that's a lifestyle change. So just, like, this has just like come, like, I want to just mention this, that being fit is just not about how you look, it is about how you feel. Fitness actually starts from the inside. It's about your heart health, your lungs, oh god, so important, your lung health, your blood vessel health, how is your blood circulating, all that matters so much. And now we all are aging, like I'm at 30 plus. So now I know that, the timer is going in my head, my skin will become loose if I do not exercise enough. So then it'll just be loose skin, no muscle, because we will lose muscle mass. So yes, the timer is on in my head, that, of course, that if I don't work out enough, or if I don't move enough, or if I don't do my own housework enough, I am going to end up like, I'm going to age really fast. And we all, our longevity is anyways decreased. So why don't we just live life better till we can? And range of motion. Like, I hear so many people in their 40s telling, I'm getting like a hip replacement, knee replacement. I'm like, no way. You're 40. You're younger to my mom. How is this possible? Lifestyle issues. We've not moved our knees, we've not strengthened our thighs, our back has become like, our back has a normal curvature, sitting like this, like this, like this. What else will happen? So I don't know if you guys can see me, but yes, I did show a couple of moves how we sit usually. So there has to be a little effort. Yes.
That's why the way we say, right, it's like the way we age, even our spine also age. That's one of the most important part of our body, and it degenerates the way we take care of it. It is definitely going to degenerate, but can we delay the process, or we really want it to be happening like this? It's like, no, don't climb on my back, it's going to hurt, I'm going to break. I still remember, when I just started my yoga journey, I was taking one class, and it was like, my teacher told me once, it's okay if you do not know a posture, you can still teach people. You don't have to really get into the posture to show them. So I was like, okay, let's do a headstand. So at that point in time, I was still not a headstand person. So I was like, let's do a headstand. After me telling them twice, they were like, can you just show us once? I was like, where is the towel? Can I just, is it the class done? Can I leave? I was like, fine. With the, with a deep breath, and I was like, okay, let's do it. And I got into the posture. Yeah. So I was in the posture, and I toppled. And my students were like, up to class 1, ek hafte tak yoga teacher will not come. And so that kind of a thing, but I was on my knees. I took a moment over there just to relax my mind, because it's more to do with your mind than your body. And I was all fit to go. My spine was fine, my lower back, upper back, absolutely fine. There was nothing. So what Iti has brought up a point is that fitness is not about hitting gym all the time or taking out that 2 hours to step out of the house. Right now, we actually cannot. What you need to keep ensured is that you have enough mobility. You can choose up any workout, maybe climbing up the stairs, maybe running. Of course, we say a lot of running is not recommended because there's a lot of muscle loss. So you can choose multiple mix of workouts, exercises, dance therapies to make such, effort in your day-to-day life so that there is some movement. I generally keep my phone on charging at a very, very distant place so that every single time it rings, I have to walk and go and bring it. Water bottle, of course, I would keep it near, so I will keep drinking, but I keep it away and put an alarm on my watch so that I keep drinking it. I go, get up, bring it, so there's a movement, plus there is enough hydration happening. So, and I personally believe in a lot in yoga. I do different type of workouts, but I do believe in yoga because I started my fitness journey with yoga. It's very, very close to my heart. There was a time after my deliveries, I was being diagnosed with some cervical nerve compression, and I was in terrible pain. Like couldn't move, couldn't sit, couldn't talk, and zero social life. I was like so irritated. And then somebody said, "Why don't you go and do a cult class of yoga?" I was like, "Okay, I've tried everything, like pulling neck, pulling hands, pulling shoulder. Let me do this also." And honestly, that was a turning point for me. It was so amazing. After just, it was not at the first class, but I started enjoying the class. I started that 1 hour of mine when I was, may not be pain free, but it was not in my mind. I was not thinking about it. And slowly I realized that actually the pain is gone. And that's when, I was like, "Theek hai, I've heard so many things about yoga. Yoga do flexibility, strength, muscle, it helps you to lose weight also. People who are looking for gaining weight, they can do that as well. And it helps you to relax your mind." But I was like, how does it really happen? Like so many things in just one yoga. How does it really happen? So I'm that kind of a person who would want to understand facts and details before really, running behind it. So that's when I joined a proper teacher's course. I got into this. And what I realized was it was a very, I'll just share this with a very small understanding, with the understanding I have that, we call it something called energy. You all heard of this word, right? Energy. So energy is what? The energy we get from our food, with the water, with the environment, everything around us has energy, and that's the energy we absorb. That's the energy which is known as prana. Prana flows in our entire body through our energy channels called nadis. Has anybody heard about this word nadis? No?
Maybe not. It's just too technical.
Yeah.
Yes, it's absolutely all right. Yeah. So it is, of course, our human body is really very complex, and so mine's are. So the nadis are the energy channels through which this entire energy flows in the body. Now, one thing which you would agree and you would have heard is when somebody says, when somebody gets a heart attack, how does it happen? There's a blockage in the arteries. The blood is not able to flow properly and reach to the heart, and that's where our heart get into stroke or a heart attack, right? Same goes with our nadis. There are 72,000 nadis in our body which take this energy throughout our body, and believe me or not, there are 1 lakh odd blockages in our body every single day. Assume if you do not take care of these blockages, you are in such a big mess. Headaches, leg aches, backache, not able to sit, no mood, don't want to socialize, right? We have been planning for baby from years, not happening. I'm not saying there is no medical problem behind it, there could be, but the basic problem of energy reaching to each and every organ of yours, to your mind, to your body, or to different parts of your body is just not happening. So the basic step is already missed out. So that's where yoga plays a very important role. So yoga, particularly yoga, helps you to open up these blockages. While you are into a posture, you try to hold that posture and have a control on your pain through your breath. These, the flow of energy increases, blood circulation to your heart, to your body increases. The stress levels, the stress hormones, right? Cortisols, adrenals go down. your cells and your nervous system start interacting with each other, which automatically relaxes your body. So there is definitely a science behind how yoga has been helping in this time of pandemic when the situation was really uncertain. I have so many things running on my mind. Oh, third wave is coming. People are talking about third wave as if it's just standing on the door and will enter your house any moment. बस आ ही रही है. कोई दो लोग बिना मास्क के अब तो थर्ड वेव आ ही गई बस. Right? So we are not realizing when we talk about it so much, it's just there. It is in our head when we are sleeping also. It is all getting registered. So, about the job uncertainty, jo meeting tumhari hai, the meeting which is not yours, you still want to attend it because you want to be on top of it. You never know when your boss says tata bye bye to you. Right. So there are so many things which is going in your mind all the time. So much of uncertainty, ultimately leading to lethargy. You were whole night thinking about it, half asleep, half awake. Morning you don't want to do yoga. Morning you don't want to boss ko first meeting not attending or with video and camera off. Right. So
Just like now. It's a Saturday morning.
Yeah, Saturday morning, convince people, "Arey, aa jana, please attend the session." So, jokes apart, yeah, so there are so many things which is running in our mind all the time, leading to lethargy, mood swings, don't want to do anything, don't want to get out of the bed, right? We're just stuck and with those thoughts and it's a loop and loop going on. When it comes to yoga and why people choose yoga during this pandemic and how it has helped, is when you really, it's about with a leap of faith, you have to come out of the bed. And there are yoga on beds also if you want to do that. Stretching here, there, even lying down on the bed and shavasana is also a yoga. But it has to be mindful. You should be aware of what you are doing. Just about getting onto your mat, you will automatically feel relaxed. Do some basic stretches. And during this pandemic, how it has really helped people is because it has helped people to reduce their stress hormones. And your happy hormones have increased, health increases, of course, when your stress hormones reduces. And there is something called brain repairing cells. So they increase in your brain, and that's where it's all about mind. I believe it's all about mind. Even if you're pain, right? If you're in too much of pain, if you stop thinking from your mind, stop thinking about it, then it is gone. Like the way I am trying to do right now. Of course, my mouth hurts with that ulcer, but I was like, I'm cool about it. So you just have to tell yourself, and definitely it is something which avoids injuries. So, if you have not worked out ever, start with yoga. I'm not selling a yoga class or a yoga workout over here. But what I'm trying to say is something which is very safer. Sometimes people start something, get into injuries. I will do 10, 20, 30, 40 burpees today only. Array, your joints have never moved. The hinges have never moved. There's zero mobility, zero endurance. You're already in just one climbing just one step. You go by stairs. I'll come by lift. You're already doing that, right? So how do you think you can do 100 to 20, 30 burpees, and then that's where you get into ligament or knee issue or this. So why I said yoga is start with something very basic. Start doing stretches, start opening up your body, increase your flexibility, mobility. Yoga takes care of all the five fitness, criterias about, and it helps you in cardiovascular activity, your respiration, your lungs improve. So definitely fitness will happen if you already practicing yoga. You can climb 3, 4 stairs. So that's how it is. So all this comes, as I said, all this comes from your mind. Open up your mind, your body will automatically open up. If you want your fitness goals to be achieved, keep your mental goals on tip top.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. So let's just go through like 5 important points to take away from yoga and fitness. So we'll remember it. Number one, fitness is not necessarily going to a gym or enrolling in a class. It's being active, climb stairs, move around, squat, do all your work. Number two, fitness is just not for the body, it's also for your mind. In fact, they say that yoga or even a lot of, not weightlifting, but yoga, aerobics, and Zumba, it is somatopsychic. What is somatopsychic? So my mind follows my body. I mean, I can't be happy. I'm not here. Oh, I'm so happy. Our body tells us, like, our body language tells it all. So there's this joke which a lot of people tell that, why is everyone's day the happiest, not because they are meeting the love of their lives and everything, because they smile so much. So our brain just registers that. So I remember like all the times I used to be grumpy in my yoga class, and I used to tell like my teacher that, a bad day or whatever. He was like, can you just do this and do all the yoga postures? I was like, what a mental man, what a mental. I only had to get like a mental guy like this. And he was like, fix it, tape it, because basically whatever your body does, your mind will register that. So that's why open your mind, stretch. When you're happy, your body is not contracted, it is expansive. Our energy is expansive. So fitness is this is science. This is not just theory or like an esoteric concept anymore. This is science. You can go research it, it is there. And neuroprogramming, it's like a vast field. I'm just going to touch upon a couple of points. Basically, they say now in the last 20-25 years, the scientists, doctors are saying that we can form new neural pathways. So basically, like, if there's fire, I touch it, I will, it's like a memory and it registers, right? And like this, we have, memories or experiences which are not that great or which are more limiting. We can rewire them. And when is the best time to rewire these experiences? This is after like a good physical exercise. When you have some endurance, that's when these these neural pathway changes. And not only that, like, it's also been proved that people who work out regularly, do yoga regularly, or any form of fitness which is not like, not wrestling and all. Okay, so I'm not including that because my nephews, they think wrestling is like a sport. So in that, no, I'm not sure. So yes, so basically your hippocampus, the density does not deteriorate, so your memory improves. There are lesser chances of dementia. Basically, my family tells me ever since I've started working out regularly, I am more bearable to them because the dementia has become lesser, I guess. So no, but this is really, it has been seen that in fact a lot of patients are being suggested to do some form of exercise because it keeps your brain healthy. You can rewire your memories, improve your memory, improve your focus. So many benefits. Like, you might feel exhausted after a workout, but at the end of the day, you feel that lightness, that energy. It does happen. We are like Parul said again, we are not selling any fitness class. We are selling a fit lifestyle. Just on your chair, just sit on your chair, get up like 10 times. When you're sitting, touch your toes, lift your legs, just all this. We are not, just get fit, get moving. And lastly, there's this very, very interesting concept that we will touch further. It's called biohacking. Has anyone heard about biohacking? I don't know if anyone will answer. Nisha, you tell me, have you heard about biohacking?
I haven't. No clue.
Okay, so biohacking, this term was introduced around 2016-ish, but it reached us in 2018. So what is biohacking? We all know what hacking is. Hacking into each other's accounts, hacking into like, government data, secure data. This is hacking into your own body. So now, like, if you go, I would suggest everyone to go after this session and Google biohacking. It is so interesting. You can hack your own body. If you suffer from anxiety, depression, you can hack your body and undo them. You suffer from XYZ, insomnia, hack your body through different foods. Yes, you don't have to, even nutrition is so important. So biohacking is the latest trend. I mean, like Parul and I, it's like on our to-do list to go for cryotherapy, cryotherapy,
Yes. Yeah,
cryotherapy. That cold thing, but because of the whole lockdown thing, we were supposed to go because cryotherapy is supposed to be,
minus
it's
40
just
degree
one
temperature.
of the best biohacking methods. In fact, all the footballers, cricket sportsmen, they all do it. So yes, so biohacking, so fitness, yoga is very good for biohacking. And now let's touch something that is like very crucial today, and that's mental health. During the pandemic, we have children, adults, people who are old, retired, everyone is suffering from some, not everyone, a lot of them have realized that they have mental health issues. Like earlier, no one spoke about anxiety, depression, bipolar, but do we realize, just as I get happy, excited, scared, enthusiastic, some people get scared, very anxious, they get depressed.
Sorry to interrupt. I have one question to ask to
Yeah,
audience.
sorry. Okay, sure.
Just
Go for it.
so it will help you to understand how our audience think. So just one question. So let's say to audience, your boss is being unreasonable with their expectations from you. What would you do? Would you vent it out to your friend? Would you feel uncomfortable to confront or calmly try to explain your boss that you need more hands to meet expectations?
Okay, I
Anybody
think
would want to answer?
Nisha is only going to answer it, or else I will answer it. But I don't know if you'll go and tell our boss, our ex-boss.
No, definitely not. Just trying to understand how so to any situation we deal with 100 type of situations every single day when it comes to kids, work, office, anything. So many of decision making, so many proactive steps we need to take. But all these things come from a very basic step of mental health. Your decision making is very much derived from your mental state of being, how good you feel or how relaxed and calm you are to take any particular decision and move ahead. You can be extremely angry to react to it, or you can take a moment, take a couple of deep breaths, first relax your heartbeat, yourself, and then react to the situation. I'm sure you want to do it in a much better way, and that's where it is talking about mental health. You can have your own answers to this question. Somebody can vent out to a friend, boss may be really clumsy or really like not, you really don't want to, kal hi fire ho jaunga aur nahi bolunga boss ko to. Like, so it could be anything, but you have your own answers. But what I'm trying to say is it's the mental health or the mental training which plays a very important role over here to deal with any situation you come across. So don't always be very, don't always be very just proactive in answering. Just take a moment over there, think from your mind, think what really has to be done, and then just bump out.
So I've just seen the time. It's 11:41. So I'm going to try to like fast forward a little. So can we prevent mental health problems? To an extent, yes. If in your genes you have like mental health issues, like whatever issues, if they had to go up to a level of 100, if you build a healthy lifestyle, pranayam, mindfulness exercises, food for brain, then you won't go up to 100. You might just go up to 15 or 20. So yes, mental health issues are avoidable, but you need to really make a effort. And for people if it's there in your genes, you really need to make a lot of changes. That's These are some questions that we are really asked about. And so how do I differentiate between like a normal sad day and depression? So if you really feel that your sadness has lasted for too many days and you can't find out like why exactly am I sad, okay, that person scolded me or that person didn't do, but it's been 3 days, 4 days. When when the occurrence of your sadness or your lows or anxiety episodes, when they increase a lot and they hamper you from doing your normal day to day activities, like I don't feel like getting out of my bed, or maybe I get out of my bed but I don't want to do what usually I like to do. So that's when there is no harm. If I have cancer and I go to a doctor, I won't be judged, right? So if I have depression and I go to a doctor, why will I be judged? Of course, it is a little more difficult for like my grandmother to understand it, because they had a different lifestyle, they had a different environment. But today we all are living in 2020. We know about the uncertainty, the unpredictability, the competitive environment we are in. We all have like multiple responsibilities, so it is okay. If you don't have a friend, luckily today we have enough health professionals that can go, because you need to set an example for your children that they can learn how to talk, and more than them, for yourself, that there is some mental peace. Like honestly, why I do yoga is for my mental health, because I don't know if it's the pranayam, the asana practice, or whatever. So if there is one pranayam that I want the whole world to learn, including the kids, would be Ujjayi breathing. So I'm just going to actually show it to you, because especially during COVID, we realized that it strengthens your upper respiratory tract. the upper part of your lung, the trachea over here. So just going through what is Ujjayi breath, you use your nose and your throat. It's like the deepest form of breathing. It relaxes your nervous system, activates your parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest nervous system. You can find more benefits on Google. So I'll just teach you the method. So breathe in, just this action. Breathe in. This you're going to do it through your nose. So when I was recovering from COVID, this was like my holy grail. I had no energy to do anything, but Ujjayi breathing was the only thing I did throughout, just to ensure that my lungs were safe. And more than that, it relaxes your system. It helps you come in the present moment. I remember there was this period when I was very anxious and I had to take a flight to go somewhere. And I was doing like real loud Ujjayi breaths. And then there was a very nice old lady sitting. She was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yes, I'm breathing. This is a breathing exercise." She was like, "You are snoring." I was like, "No." This is
Or
like,
your own lion.
yeah. So, yes, it is like a soft snore, but not like an adult snore, like a little baby. Have you heard their breath? It's melodious. So that's how it sounds. So I can't see anyone, but after this session, just do 5 rounds. You might not do it right. You might use that thing. I don't know how people do it, but yes, you might do that. Avoid doing that and practice this simple pranayam method. Also, I think we often get asked about meditation, that can I learn meditation via apps and everything? I'm like, if it works for you, honestly, just do anything that works for you. But if you ask me as a yoga teacher, yoga professional, I would say meditation is an experience. I can teach you mindful exercises, but meditation is what happens to you. It is an experience. I cannot teach you. Even if I have a guru, he can initiate me. He can initiate me like by different methods, by giving me a mantra or like showing me light. But that meditation is an experience. But yes, please go ahead, do mindful exercises on apps, on these guided meditations. Do it anywhere. And if you really want to do one, you really want to actually learn meditation, do 21 rounds of Ujjayi breathing. As soon as you wake up, just do Ujjayi breathing 21. Don't forget your count. If you forget your count, start from 1. Come back to 1. There's a good possibility you all might not reach work. So do it on a Sunday. But yes, if you want to learn meditation, start with, we call it Sahaj Pranayam. And so do that. Also, what are we eating, guys? What are we eating? Like, we all have heard we are what we eat. And honestly, Parul is like the nutrition teacher. She always has ghar ka nuskas. She'll always tell, what are you eating? Don't do this. You eat that. You've not tried that? She's our like kitchen queen, nutrition queen. So I'm going to let her handle it. Parul, over to you.
Honestly speaking, it's the way to cook less. बनाओगे कम तो खाओगे कम. It's like that. Right? But yes, jokes apart, nutrition is one of the most important aspects when we talk about our energies, when we talk about, our mind, because we have nutrition or we have food for our body, we have food for our mind. And it's the energy at the end of the day, which is most important, for keeping us moving, for fitness, for yoga, for anything and everything. So I still remember once I went to a restaurant, I went to a Pizza Hut. My friend had a promotion. It's an evening time. At that point in time, it's even now I don't eat after 8 o'clock. So it's like we went and then she was like, okay, let's order cheese bus pizza. I said, simple ही नहीं खाया जाएगा, cheese bus कैसे होगा? So I was like, I'll have salad. And we were 8 on the table. She was like, are you more serious? Are you going to still eat salad? We have come to Pizza Hut. I said, see, one, I don't eat after 8. Second, cheese is something which I find it really difficult to digest. I don't know. I feel, my stomach don't go right in the morning and my entire day is gone for a toss. So why I brought this up is that, you have to make your own decisions, your own choices about eating anything and everything. Pizza or the cheese might really not go well with my stomach. It should be fine with you, right? You must be okay to eat that last dessert even when you are full, but I am not. because I'm going to, because whatever I've enjoyed throughout the meal, right, will be all waste when I feel super full and I'm looking for a place to run or to walk or to digest that, right? But definitely a balanced diet, a diet which is a good amount of carbs, proteins for your muscles, good unsaturated fats, is going to help you to, expand your energies, to be awake, active till even at 10 o'clock. You start at 10 o'clock. So yes, as I said, so you should have that energy. You can eat 3 meals a day, but you have to make sure that all the three or the proper nutrients have been covered in your meal. I personally do, when it comes to me, I do intermittent fasting. So as I said, there are multiple ways, of eating. You can eat 3 meals, you can do intermittent fasting or a keto diet with only proteins. So I do intermittent fasting. I eat only at 12. Like, yeah, it's after 10 minutes going to be my eating time. So I eat from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. is the window open I can eat. But even then, I'm very mindful of what I'm eating. No, I'm very, very careful of no processed food like biscuits and, these kind of too much of bread goes in my stomach, because food definitely defines your energy, definitely defines your prana. When you eat too much of cheesy food, for example, afternoon you eat something like, as I said, pizza, or too much starchy food like aloo paratha, what will you do next? I'm going to sleep 4 hours. Don't even, touch me. I will not. So what I'm saying is, of course, why is it that mentally that you eat aloo paratha, you want to sleep? No, because the food you ate, right? It has a lot of fat, it has a lot of starch. It is, of course, going to take your energy levels little low. You're going to feel more sleepy. So that's how about it. So anybody and everybody can choose the diet which you feel like is right for you. Also, you can continue for a very long run. People skip breakfast completely. But what if, for example, I am a breakfast person and I skip it because I want to diet. Will I be able to run it long way? So no, after 1 week or after 1 month, I'm like, "Sab kha raha hai, main bhi khaun." So why can't I eat? So much good things are being good. So it has to definitely set in your mind. You have to just, charge this here, that if you're doing this, you're going to be disciplined and, continue about this. Also, it has to be a mix of all the kind of foods. Make right and healthy choices. You want to eat fruits, please eat fruits. Don't go into juices. You want to, eat parathas, chapatis, eat in daytime, easy to digest. Eat a lot of nuts and seeds. Evening teas, you can definitely have nuts and seeds. If I'm hungry, I try to munch these over biscuits and chocolates. In night, when I go to bed, I have 2 almonds to make sure that, the walnuts are very good in antioxidants, which help to repair my body. So even if people who are doing even minimalist of the workout or sports people, for them nutrition is very, very important. Include all kind of food, but make sure that your food is not making you less active. It is keeping you active throughout the day. You feel energized. At the end of 6 months, when you do your blood tests, you have no deficiencies. You might be saying, I'm doing proper dieting, okay? अरे B12 भी कम है, vitamin D भी कम है, बहुत चक्कर आ रहे हैं, but I'm doing all dieting, all proper, okay? No, it doesn't work like that. If the food has to be completely nutritious food, it has to be a balanced diet, and choose what is right for you. Right? Some people really enjoy eggs in morning, but some people just hate eggs. So it is like anything and everything works. For particularly you, there is no one fit solution to everybody. I get this question so many times from people. What do you eat in your whole day? Tell me your diet plan. I'm okay to share. There's no diet plan. I just eat healthy. I drink lots and lots of water. If I'm hungry, I'll first drink water. So now it settles me down and I'm not just hopping the food because it doesn't get digested well. So I to all those people, just from your kitchen, first of all, eat whatever you feel is right for you, and you do not feel guilty about it. It has to be a balance of all kind of diets, carbs, fats, unsaturated fats, whatever. Also, whichever you can follow for a very long time. You can be disciplined and continuous about it, and not looking for left and right options. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, like we both have spoken so much, and there is so much information out there. You can listen to podcasts, read books, papers. Everyone's talking about it. But something we both believe in, that's why we are here together, is at the end of the day, do what feels right to you, do what feels good to you, what makes your heart sing, what makes you feel good, what nourishes your body and mind. There is no one diet plan, there is no one food, there is no one fitness plan, there is nothing that is universal. Every human is unique, every fitness plan, every nutrition, everything is this. We've just given our ways and our, we've just given thrown a light on what we do. But there's a huge everyone does everything. There is nothing right. We don't believe that this is right and this is wrong. This is what has worked for us. So even now what we've given is like a lot of gyan. We would say question everything, experiment everything. Whatever we've told, don't believe it, don't believe anything. Experiment it, question it. If intermittent fasting does not work for you, catch Parul. If Ujjayi breathing does not work for you, catch me. Get back to us. We will come to know. We will learn from you. We will learn from our bodies. So thank you so much, guys. It's been so nice talking to you all, Parul. It's been so
Yes.
amazing.
No,
Thank
it
you,
has been
Nisha.
a
This opportunity has been like awesome. I know we've spoken so much that we've left the Q&A window a little less, but
Yeah.
yes, we are open for questions, please.
Thank you, Parul and Iti, for that absolutely super informative session. Everything, I think, fitness, mental health, nutrition, all packed, within this 1 hour. I think it's been about 55 minutes. But we will now open to Q&A with our members. All the people that have tuned in, this is your opportunity to ask the experts. Any fitness, yoga, nutrition, mental health, anything related to wellness, go ahead.
Hi, this is Arvind here. Sorry, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, Arvind, you're audible. You could just speak up a bit, please.
All right, sure.
Yeah, sorry. No, I just more than a question, I just wanted to give a generic feedback that uh, most of the things we would have heard or listened somewhere, but we don't tend to put into practice for sure. So such sessions definitely does help in at least kind of making us more aware about it and then pushing us a little bit more to practice. So overall, very helpful session. I think we should have such sessions more and more or quite often. The general feedback. That's it.
Thank you, Arvind. Thank you so much. And I couldn't agree more with you. We have some more questions. Arun wants to know, what would you advise for people beginning, yoga beginners?
Wake up and please attend a class, or just wake up and do 11 Surya Namaskar. And in case you're at a place where you've had a knee replacement or you have a knee injury, start with basic asanas. That's the thing about yoga. There are so many styles, there's something for everyone. So in case you are doing it by yourself, you don't have a teacher and you're fit enough, start with doing 11 um, Surya Namaskar rounds, and that will give you, and after a point, start holding every posture and see that your breath is in sync. If you do not sync your breath to your postures, then it wouldn't be yoga anymore. It would just be any other exercise. So just start with that, and please start. We would be happy to answer and help you with videos or short sessions. So you can always get back to us, or you can ask Nisha to connect you
Sure.
to us. So yes,
Sure.
so I hope that has helped.
So, Iti and Parul, I request you all to drop your connect details in the chat window so everybody can reach out to you personally if need be. For now, we have some more questions. Megha wants to know, will fasting cause muscle loss?
So yes, mega fasting might cause muscle. All fasting, like the diet we follow, do cause some muscle loss. For that, we advise to do, what we call weightlifting, taking enough proteins in your food. It could be supplement or the foods include protein in your food. And when it comes to intermittent fasting, it has less muscle loss as compared to any other, fasting methods we choose. Yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Okay, we'll take some more questions until she comes back to us. So Sanjay would like to know, yoga can prevent diseases, but can it cure it if we already have sugar or heart related diseases?
So yoga is very good for as a for prevention of various diseases. For curing it, yoga honestly will not cure it totally. Like you will not, if you're border sugar line, yoga can help. You won't go over the sugar line. You won't get diabetic. But if you're already diabetic, again, which type of diabetes do you have? It depends on that. And yoga will help if you're taking like X amount of insulin. With yoga you'll have to take X minus 1, like minus 1 amount of insulin. And with time, your medicine levels will decrease. And for, like, I know this for sure, with the migraine and with thyroid, yoga absolute, because we have seen students who have left thyroid medicines and migraine medicines, but if they do not do yoga for 2 3 months, it comes back to them. So it is not like a lifetime cure. It might come back, but it can also be because of a lot of other issues. Like for heart issues, I would say that again, what kind of heart issues exactly? If it's just heart palpitations, yes. But if there is a blockage, then no, yoga cannot cure. I'm going to be as honest and to your face that it cannot cure. Can it cure cancer? No. But it can prevent, if you're sugar borderline, it won't let you go over. It won't let you get diabetic. And if you're already diabetic, then practicing this will always ensure that your sugar levels are in balance. So yes, that way yoga is very helpful if you have diabetes, you have sinus, or anything. It is really helpful.
Just to add on, somebody looking for really for diabetes, then you should make sure that you are not lean but you're not fat, because the fat at your body prevents the right amount of sugar reaching to your cells, and that's where diabetes happen. So start start assure that the belly or the abdomen region is really healthy, and your pancreas is able to induce more insulin.
Sanjay, I hope that's answered your question. Okay, yeah, he says thank you. Also, we have another question. How is yoga different from stretching or other kinds of fitness?
So yoga is more about steady postures and relaxation of muscles. When you are into yoga, you are in a very good state of very comfort. It's a very comfortable state. The movements are slow and controlled, versus any other workout when your heart rate is very very high, and the blood gush throughout the body is too much. So, but in yoga, the breath is very important, and it is synchronized. So it's like slowly and steadily you get into a posture which might give you some pain, but you've already aligned your breath with it. So now your mind and body is working together.
Right. Monica, is that okay? Does that
Yeah,
answer your question?
And Monica,
yeah,
you must
totally
attend one
agree
of
with you.
Parul's session to know if it's only stretching. Parul, please make Monica sweat next time.
Yeah, sure. Will do.
So, also we have Shilpa wants to know if there are any apps that you can suggest.
Yes. So there are a lot of apps which are yoga apps. There is this app called Chelsea Yoga. It's really nice. She's good. But all of them have a couple of free classes. They don't have a lot of free classes. There is Hannah Yoga Barrett. Even her app is really good. And in Indian teachers, there is Art of Living app, but it has the very basic Surya Namaskar and stretches. But there are enough apps, but like every app, there are a limited number of free classes, but you can work around. NTC is free, guys. Nike Training Club, it is free. You can attend yoga classes over there. They have beginners, vinyasa, hatha, and Asana Rebel by Reebok. That's only for like $200 for I think 3 4 months. So yes, I forgot about these, and of course NTC is free. You can try NTC.
It's
Whoever
Yoga
wants to.
International, right?
Huh?
Yoga International.
Yoga International all paid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shilpa, is that okay?
Yes, Nisha. Actually, I have earlier practiced yoga for a while, so I definitely know how beneficial it is, and especially for I think the generation where all the 80s, 90s born. I think for us, I mean, I know, like you said, Iti, that experience only the ones who have done and we have experienced, we know it, the kind of benefits it gives. So since now, post delivery, now that I have a kid, it is little tough for me to practice. But however, I mean, though now I don't have any professional helping me on such, so I thought maybe with apps, if at all I can get it right whenever if it's possible for me, it will definitely help. And thanks for the session, Nisha. It does, maybe though we know all the benefits, though we know we have so many resources around it, somewhere we do get into that sluggish mode of okay, let me okay, relax for a while, maybe I'm still slightly young, I can push it for a while.
Right.
But of course, I mean, I know in the long run, the health deteriorates to the worst, and at that point of time, you definitely can't begin what you plan to do now. So I thought it's really good, and I mean, nevertheless, no matter how much ever we are aware of, we need that motivation quite often. Thanks for the initiative. Thank you, Iti. Thank you, Parul.
Thanks, Shilpa.
Thank you.
Try any of these apps. You will love it. Try
Sure,
NTC. It's free.
sure,
Or
sure,
even
sure,
Down Dog.
sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Shilpa, for sharing all that. It's always great to hear when something is liked by the viewers. It shows us that we are creating value. So,
No,
thank you.
actually, Nisha, this generation, what I personally feel is, they get carried away, the gym, the aerobics and all, they find it very fancy. So
Right.
there's no much light towards yoga, and, people tend to believe that, it's, not so fashionable to do yoga, something like that. But I
Right.
think the benefit we fetch from it is it's priceless. So like I said, the ones who have done it ourselves, only we know what benefit it gives up.
Right.
So
Right.
that
No, no,
way,
absolutely.
definitely I think whomever I meet up in my social circle, I definitely I tell them you must kind of whenever time possible, we must try and give some time for exercise, and especially yoga.
Absolutely, Shilpa. Thank you once again.
Yeah,
Uh,
thanks.
okay, so we have another question. How can one benefit from yoga during the COVID period? I know, Iti, you've already covered that, but if you want to give
Yeah.
some more facts about it, it would be
So basically, we've been doing a lot of like pranayam free classes. It just stopped right now. So basically, now we've realized that we need to strengthen the upper part of our respiratory tract. That when we breathe in a virus, we have, our breathing power is such that we can breathe out the toxins, the bacteria, the pollutants, and etc. So it's very important, especially today, that we strengthen our lungs. We learn how important it is that it's not just about breathing in oxygen, it's about absorbing the oxygen, getting it to our bloodstream. So that's more important. That's why, usually, like, you tell someone to take a deep breath, the clavicular will go up, and all dramatic things will happen. But on a normal day, you should be breathing deeply. That's how we are designed to breathe. And not only for your breath, it also improves your immunity. Like, we're talking about inversions, like king of asana Shirshasana, queen of asana Sarvangasana. All these are inversions. They strengthen our immune system, and more importantly, they ensure that there's enough blood circulation in our brain and our heart. We don't realize our blood is going down the whole day, like while circulating. So
right.
inversions, now suddenly it's not going, or whatever is going stays up. So we just need to increase our immunity. We need to ensure that our lungs and our respiratory tract is strong. Number 3, we know how to breathe well, because people who have got COVID, a lot of them, their lungs have shrunk a little, or if they were taking in 10% oxygen, now it's 9% for the people who still have side effects. So that's why breathing is the one thing that will keep you energetic. Also, it gives you resilience. Like, like pain is like, this is like one of my favorite quotes: pain is inevitable, suffering is a choice. COVID is inevitable. Breathing properly is still our choice. Being resilient is still our choice. So that's what we can do. Like pranayam, I think, is a life skill which is now being taught in a lot of schools, because I have a lot of nephews and nieces and they all are learning pranayam at school, which I think is commendable.
I was just adding on, Preeti, that pranayam has to be the most integral part of your day to day. The way you don't miss out on eating or don't miss out on your food, please don't miss out on your pranayams. For yoga during pandemic or your regular thing, you can just start with any basic stretches. As Iti said, you start with Surya Namaskar. You know, if you cannot do headstands, handstands, these fancy postures, you can always lie down next to the wall, leg up to the wall, just relaxed over there. That helps you increase the blood circulation towards your legs, towards your perineum. You know, people going through diabetes, so a lot of blood happens through your pancreas, stomach. So it is, you just have to, please don't wait for something, a very fancy class or any too many good things to happen. Just start with something basic. But just start moving, start doing basic exercises. There are times being a yoga teacher, also, I don't feel like practicing. I just 6 Surya Namaskar and I do a 5 minutes of Shavasana, which goes for 15 minutes also because I sleep off.
Sure. Also, there's another question from Ranjita. What are some of the yogasanas for pregnant women, and what are the asanas required? And also, are there any apps for pregnant women? Any yoga apps?
So Ranjita, like yoga for pregnancy is a bliss. Number one, there are apps, but they're all paid apps, because every pregnancy is different. Everyone has different issues. Like probably, you know, every mother or anyone who's ever been pregnant will know that your body changes, your hormone changes. So we cannot just have like a certain set that this is what you do, because we have to be very careful, because first 3 months there is a life that is attaching itself to you. So you know, we don't want to use an app ideally. And if you have to do a couple of asanas, like 2 3 very safe asanas, like even I wouldn't like, I've not seen anyone, I wouldn't tell them anything very generic, because even Surya Namaskar is not, if you have like, if your fetus is really low, I forget the terms, but I know what my students tell me. If the, you know, head is almost already coming out, or you have so many other issues, then there are, or you're spotting, then there are so many yoga asanas you do not do. But something that you can do for all the 9 months is Utkatasana, chair posture. Just sit into a chair. That's one thing that you can do. Child's pose. But keep your knees wide apart in child's pose, that your stomach is not compressed or constricted. So yes. So again, Ranjita, I'm sure you'll find enough data, about yoga for pregnancy. But be very, very careful. I would never leave if you've not learned yoga. I wouldn't let you do yoga alone.
Thanks for the information, Iti.
Thank you, Ranjita.
Thank you, Ranjita. So we have some of what are the best asanas in yoga, and what are some of the basic yoga asanas?
So best asanas are the one which you already have mastered.
Right.
So, you know, there is nothing like best. I would say any asana which you feel you can stay there and, you know, compose all your breath and your body together. And, you know, instead of focusing, the focus shift from your pain to your breath is the best asana. You know, you should be able to stay there for some time. You should be able to hold on to your emotions, to your expressions. And that's when the energy flows throughout the body is the best asana. But, you know, and there are different asanas for different things. For example, if you're looking for mind relaxation, then you can do Shirshasana as at the entire blood flows towards your legs. Right? If you're looking for opening up your groins or your perineum area, then definitely goddess pose. Right? So if I say, if you want to really practice yoga, start with Surya Namaskar. That has a set of 12 asana. It covers most of the things. And, you know, Surya Namaskar is the best asana. I would say that, it covers everything. It covers all your body parts, a complete body workout.
Sure.
My name is Mohammed Sharif. I am one of the students of the Parul. We have been in your Parul Yoga for since, I think, for past
Thank you, Sharif, for joining me.
2.5 years. Yes.
He does amazing. Guys, just want to tell a bit about him. He has a problem with slip disc.
Yeah, correct.
Right? Not to disclose the age. His daughters are wedded already. He has like good family. He has an issue of slip disc, but he do 75, 101 Surya Namaskar with me. He do all inversions, back bend, chakras, and everything. So as I said, it's all over here in your mind. You know, your body takes it the way you show it. Thank you, Sharif sir, for joining me.
Thanks a lot for your compliments.
Thank you.
Thank you, Parul and Iti, for that extremely, like I said earlier, crash course into fitness, mental health, yoga, nutrition, all of it. And unfortunately, the time is, it's too short a time to cover everything. But we look forward to many more of these follow-up sessions from you. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And from the looks of it, everyone who's joined in has, gained quite a few insights from it. Thank you, everyone who tuned in.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you
It
so
was so
much.
nice just sharing
Yeah.
what we've experienced. Thank you, guys. Namaste to everyone.
Thank you, Iti. Parul.
Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Have a very good
Have a
weekend.
stellar weekend, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes.